This is the story of Nancy Metayer Bowen, a 38-year-old public servant, mother, wife, and rising political leader who was killed by her husband during a domestic dispute.
Good evening, Coral Springs. I am your Vice Mayor, Nancy Metayer Bowen, but before I begin my remarks, I would like to acknowledge my parents who are in the audience this evening, Miss Lynn and Marley Metayer.
Nancy, who was the Coral Springs City Commission, became Vice Mayor, and was widely recognized as the city's first Black and Haitian American woman commissioner, went off-grid. Her family asked for a welfare check after she went silent, but what police discovered at her house shocked veteran officers, which eventually led to the arrest of her beloved husband.
Cell phone video shows the scene about 10 miles away. Police surrounding an apartment complex in Plantation. Sources telling Local 10 this is where they nabbed the vice mayor's husband, Stephen Bowen.
It seemed like she was having a sweet and lovely relationship, but what was happening behind closed doors shocked everyone close to her. How did she transition from a lovely relationship into a violent one which ended her life? Let's find out. Florida, a suburban city in Broward County known more for families, neighborhoods, schools, and city life than for headline-grabbing violent crime. It is the kind of place where a case like this stands out immediately, especially when the victim is someone the community knows by name. That is part of what made Nancy's death so shocking. It was not just another crime story. It was the loss of a city leader inside a city that knew her. Nancy was known as a woman deeply involved in public service.
Hi, my name is Nancy Metayer Bowen, and I am the Vice Mayor of the City of Coral Springs. I ran for office because I believe representation matters. Our communities deserve leaders who reflect their lived experiences and who will fight to make government more accountable, transparent, and fair. For me, good governance means putting people first, listening, engaging, and making decisions that serve the public, not politics. I'm also deeply passionate about protecting our environment. Growing up in Florida, I've seen firsthand the impacts of flooding, rising costs, and climate change on families. I ran to ensure we have resilient solutions that safeguard our health, our homes, and our future. At the heart of it all, I stepped up to serve so every voice is heard, every family has opportunity, and our communities thrive for generations to come.
She was the vice mayor of Coral Springs and had made history as the city's first Black and Haitian American woman commissioner.
I want to share some remarks around Black History Month. February marks Black History Month, as we had recognized today, this evening. It is a tradition that started in the Jim Crow era and was officially recognized in 1976.
People around her described her as warm, driven, thoughtful, and committed to the community. She had built a name for herself as someone who cared about bringing people together and helping others. This story touches more because Nancy had just posted online about the death of her baby brother, whom she was grieving at the time of her own murder. The man at the center of this case was her husband, Stephen Bowen, 40 years old. From the look of things, it seemed like they got married a couple of years ago and things seemed nice between them online, even though that was not the case behind closed doors. They traveled together to several places, they acted like a proper couple. He painted the picture of a great man who was leading her to the promised land, even though it seemed like he was jealous of her success and he progressed with life. Nancy had built a public image around service, leadership, and connection. On the outside, there is achievement, purpose, and a future. Behind closed doors, there may be tension, fear, or something darker that the public does not see until it was too late. On the morning of April 1, 2026, police were called to Nancy's home for a well-being check shortly after 10 in the morning. What led to that check has not been fully laid out publicly in detail, but once officers arrived, they found Nancy dead inside the home. She had been savagely murdered. At that point, the story stopped being about concern for her welfare and became something far worse. A city official had been found dead inside her own house, and the person investigators focused on was her husband.
Also making headlines new overnight, the suspect accused in the death of the vice mayor of Coral Springs has officially been booked into jail. This is his mugshot. Stephen Bowen is the husband of the victim, Nancy Metayer Bowen. She was found dead in her home on Wednesday.
Police are looking into this as a domestic violence related incident. Local 10's Jeff Derderian is live in Fort Lauderdale with what we are learning about this case and the arrests made. Jeff.
Hey, Hey there, guys. Yeah, the husband of the vice mayor has been booked, fingerprinted, and charged. He's expected to be in bond court at some point today. As you mentioned, we're also now, new this morning, getting a look at him. Sky 10 hovers over the scene. A neighborhood turns to a crime scene Wednesday. Yellow police tape, cops, and word that the body of Nancy Metayer Bowen, the vice mayor of the city, her body inside her house.
Her husband, Stephen Bowen, is in our custody.
I don't know what's going on.
Cell phone video shows the scene about 10 miles away. Police surrounding an apartment complex in Plantation. Sources telling Local 10 this is where they nabbed the vice mayor's husband, Stephen Bowen.
From Coral Springs to here, in this particular area, is insane.
Onlookers learning about it all when the cops show up. The entire parking lot blocked off for a time. Detectives combing the area. There were some cars towed away from the scene. They could be tied to the investigation, possibly. Some neighbors in disbelief.
We looked out the window and SWAT cars, cop cars, everything just everywhere, guns drawn.
Metayer Bowen being remembered as someone who went beyond public service and served the people, always working, we're told, to try and make the city better.
Police held a briefing to address the murder.
The investigation, through investigative techniques, we arrived at her residence at around the 800 block of Northwest 127th Ave. Once at the residence, we did locate the body of a deceased black female that we identified as Vice Mayor Nancy Metayer Bowen. This is being investigated as a domestic violence incident. Her husband, Stephen Bowen, is in our custody. There are no additional suspects at this time, and there are no immediate threats to anyone in the public. I want to say thank you to Broward Sheriff's Office, Fort Lauderdale PD, and Plantation PD for their assistance in this investigation so far. As a reminder, all following correspondences will be releasing related to the incident through coralsprings.gov/incident. And as a reminder, this is an active investigation. Therefore, I'm unable to provide any further details at this time and cannot answer any questions. At this time, I'd like to invite Commissioner Josh Simmons up to the podium to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone, or evening. Usually I love speaking at press conferences and talking to reporters, but this is not one of those days. Nancy was our colleague, and I'm speaking on behalf of our entire commission. Nancy was our colleague. That was our battle buddy. She had such a good heart. She truly cared about people. Even when people were saying some of the most horrible things about her and us, she still cared, rolled up her sleeves, went to every event that she could go to because she truly cared about people and making sure people had a relationship with their elected officials. And for anyone that knows me, they know that I can tend to be a little like an attack dog, and I was very protective of her. I would not let people mistreat her or talk to her any kind of way just because she decided to serve the people. And so my heart is extremely heavy. My soul is heavy. My heart is broken. We just normal people. And to have to go home and deal with things, that's what we do. We come back out every single day and we work for the people. Our commission is incomplete. Our commission is incomplete. And we know that time is going to move and time is going to do its thing. But for us that are in this city, in the city hall, that have been touched or impacted by Vice Mayor Nancy Metayer Bowen, that is something, that is a loss that is going to take a lot of time to deal with. To the media, thank you for being here, but I am going to ask you one simple request. Do not turn this into a circus. Do not barrage our office trying to get answers. You have been given instructions. Please follow them. We are truly grieving right now. our city will come together as we always do. Nancy, I loved you. You're my big sister. I was always happy to see you at all the events we went to together. I just saw you this past Saturday. Didn't think that would be the last time I got to talk to you. So I'll say to everyone here, go home, hug your loved ones, tell them you love them, be close to them. I am praying for her family, who's dealing with yet another unimaginable tragedy. So please keep them in your prayers as well. And with that, I'll bring up our city manager, Catherine Gibbons.
To say today is a very dark day for us in Coral Springs is an understatement. There are no words that can truly capture the depth of this loss or the pain this organization and community are now dealing with as a result of this senseless tragedy. What's worse is the tremendous grief that her family must endure. And if you knew Nancy, her family was everything. Vice Mayor Metayer gave us so much of herself to our city. She wasn't just a leader, she was the light in every room that she entered. She was a steady voice in difficult times, a compassionate soul who lifted others up, and a friend to so many. Our hearts are truly broken. We know this brings shock and sorrow, and we are taking the necessary steps as city employees to be with those that are affected. We have our behavioral health access program for our employees, for our healing, as we do this together. We ask the community to grieve with us. We are one family, one organization, one community, and we come together at these times. Please hold each other close as we mourn. And in closing, I want to say that we're going to keep her light even in the darkest of days like today. We're here for one another. We're here for our community. Thank you.
People close to her did not hold back as to what they know about what was happening in her relationship despite what they were portraying. According to them, her husband was being jealous of her achievements. He was fed up being the one behind in everything. She was the one making the news, meeting important people, getting the limelights, and he was fed up with that. He wanted to be the star. Whenever they have a disagreement, he believes she might leave her and find another man, which leaves him single and not able to find anyone of her caliber. So on April 1st, he decided to kill her during a brief disagreement out of fear of being left single. In the end, this is the story of Nancy Metayer Bowen, a woman known for leadership and service whose life ended inside the very home where she should have been safest.
So today I found out my friend and colleague of 10 years, Nancy Metayer Bowen, I will just call her Nancy Metayer, was murdered at the age of 38 prior to her announcement of her run for Congress at the hands of her husband. Just yesterday I made this video about how angry and upset I was about another black woman who was in the middle of birth given an iPad from the hospital because she denied an emergency C-section. They took her to court while she was in active labor. The judge had to rule that she could give birth vaginally. And after she was asleep, I believe, in labor, they ended up giving her a C-section anyway. All of this comes on the heels of Ghana moving the United Nations, with the exception of the United States, Israel, Argentina, to name that the transatlantic slave trade was the worst atrocity to ever happen to humans. I feel the weight of grief for Black people and for Black women especially. This nation knows nothing but violence, harm, and extraction at our expense. And even when you are someone as perfect, pristine as Nancy Metayer, someone who had a heart of gold, who was of service to humanity, her friends, her family, in 10 years never heard a bad word about her, never had a bad experience with her, only a heart of gold. You are not safe next to your husband, the person you lay with at night. Black women, I just want you to know that I love you. Black women, I hope that you feel loved on. I hope that you feel cared for. I wish us safety and security. This nation is not safe for us, but we must be the safety for ourselves. Rest in peace, Nancy. And I pray that having you on the other side helps us all get free.
A well-being check turned into a homicide investigation. Her husband became the man charged in the case, and the community she had served was left grieving not only the way she died, but everything she still could have become. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of Nancy Metayer Bowen. May Nancy's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe out there and see you guys in the next video.